Welcome back to Empowerment Library, your space for powerful book insights. Last time, we explored The Millionaire Next Door and the quiet habits behind real wealth. Today, we turn inward with The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, a guide to finding peace by living in the present moment. Ready to slow down and reconnect? Let's dive in.
Introduction. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle is a spiritual guide to breaking free from overthinking and finding peace in the present moment. Tolle explains how living in the past or future fuels anxiety and suffering, while true peace is found in the now. Blending mindfulness, spiritual wisdom, and his own awakening, he offers practical tools to quiet the mind, transcend the ego, and live more consciously. Clear and transformative, this book helps readers awaken to inner stillness and lasting clarity.
Chapter 1. You are not your mind. In Chapter 1, Eckhart Tolle presents the foundational concept of the power of now. You are not your mind. He explains that most people are unknowingly trapped in an endless cycle of thoughts, reliving the past or worrying about the future, which creates stress, anxiety, and emotional pain. This mental noise becomes their identity, leading to unconscious living. Tolle introduces the idea that we are not the voice in our heads but the silent awareness observing those thoughts. This realization marks the beginning of spiritual awakening. He shares his own profound experience of inner turmoil that led to the breakthrough realization, I cannot live with myself any longer, which caused a dramatic shift in his consciousness. From that moment, he detached from the compulsive mind and experienced deep peace. The chapter encourages readers to begin noticing the constant stream of thoughts and to create a gap between their awareness and the mental chatter. By doing so, they can begin to experience the stillness and clarity of the present moment. Tolle emphasizes that liberation starts with recognizing that we are not our thoughts but the observer behind them. This shift opens the path to inner peace, presence, and true self-awareness.
Chapter 2. Consciousness, the Way Out of Pain. In Chapter 2, Eckhart Tolle dives deeper into the nature of emotional suffering, revealing that much of it is self-created and rooted in our resistance to the present moment. He introduces the concept of psychological pain, which arises not from present challenges but from our habit of clinging to past hurts and worrying about future outcomes. This form of pain builds over time and becomes what Tolle calls the pain body, an unconscious emotional entity that thrives on negativity, drama, and reactivity. Tolle explains that we strengthen the pain body every time we resist what is, or when we identify with our suffering. Rather than trying to suppress or escape this pain, the key is to bring conscious awareness to it. By being fully present and observing our pain without judgment or attachment, we begin to dissolve its power. Awareness disrupts the cycle of suffering and begins the healing process. The chapter emphasizes that presence, the ability to stay rooted in the now, is not just a spiritual practice but a tool for emotional liberation. Pain, when met with consciousness, becomes a portal to transformation. Tolle encourages readers to see suffering not as an enemy but as a guide, an opportunity to awaken, grow, and deepen their connection to the present moment.
Chapter 3. Moving deeply into the now. In Chapter 3, Eckhart Tolle guides readers further into the practice of living in the present by showing that the now is not just a moment in time. It is the only reality we ever truly experience. He stresses that the past is a memory and the future is imagination. Both exist only in the mind. By anchoring our awareness in the now, we access a state of peace, clarity, and aliveness that thinking can never provide. Tolle provides practical tools for entering the now, such as observing your breath, paying attention to bodily sensations, becoming fully present in mundane activities like walking, eating, or listening. He explains that these practices quiet the mind and allow space for a deeper consciousness to emerge, one that is not bound by compulsive thinking or emotional reactivity. The chapter also explores the concept of inner resistance, the subtle tension we feel when we want life to be different from what it is. Tolle shows that surrendering to the moment, accepting it fully without labeling or resisting, is the doorway to inner peace and freedom. Ultimately, this chapter teaches that we don't need to change our outer life to find joy. We need to change the way we relate to the present moment. When we live from presence instead of the mind, a deeper awareness awakens, one that is always still, always at peace, and always now.
Chapter 4. Mind Strategies for Avoiding the Now. In Chapter 4, Eckhart Tolle reveals how the mind habitually resists the present moment through constant distractions, overthinking, and unconscious waiting. He explains that the mind thrives on time, dwelling in the past or projecting into the future, because it cannot dominate the now. This resistance keeps us trapped in dissatisfaction, anxiety, and a sense of incompleteness. Tolle highlights common avoidance strategies, such as mental noise, compulsive thoughts that distract from presence, overplanning, obsessing over future outcomes, emotional waiting, hoping fulfillment lies in the next job, partner, achievement, or moment. This state of waiting, Tolle says, is a hidden form of unhappiness and a rejection of life as it is. It postpones peace, joy, and fulfillment into a future that never arrives. To counter this, Tolle urges us to notice when we're waiting or resisting. Observe the mind without identifying with it. Gently return attention to the present moment. By doing so, we interrupt the mind's grip and reconnect with a deeper awareness where true clarity and contentment live, not someday but now.
Chapter 5, The State of Presence. In Chapter 5, Eckhart Tolle explores presence, a state of calm, alert awareness that exists beyond thought. Presence is not something to force. It arises naturally when we stop identifying with the mind and allow ourselves to fully inhabit the now. Tolle explains that presence feels like stillness, clarity, and deep peace. It often begins as brief moments, during silence, deep focus, or connection with nature. Over time, these moments can become a stable state of being. He warns that the ego resists presence, because the ego depends on time, identity, and mental noise to survive. The ego may distract you or trigger doubt when you start to experience stillness. To live in presence, Tolle encourages noticing when thoughts pull you away from now, allowing stillness rather than chasing it, observing ego resistance without reacting to it. Ultimately, presence connects you to a deeper intelligence and sense of aliveness beyond the thinking mind, a gateway to lasting peace and spiritual awakening.
Chapter 6, The Inner Body. In Chapter 6, Eckhart Tolle presents the inner body as a powerful gateway to presence, the state of awareness beyond thinking. He explains that our attention is often caught up in mental activity or external distractions, pulling us away from the now. To reconnect, Tolle invites us to turn our focus inward to the living energy within our bodies. This inner body awareness is about feeling subtle sensations, like warmth, tingling, or stillness, rather than analyzing the body intellectually. By gently tuning into these sensations, we shift consciousness away from the mind and into the present moment. Tolle highlights that the inner body anchors us in the now and helps stabilize presence, even when the mind is busy. Staying connected to this inner energy also creates a protective space that shields us from emotional overwhelm and mental stress. Through this practice, everyday activities gain deeper meaning, becoming infused with a sense of sacredness. It also allows us to sense the subtle life force behind all forms, leading to a peaceful whole state of being. Ultimately, turning attention inward is a way to come home to yourself, cultivating ongoing presence and spiritual awakening in daily life.
Chapter 7, Portals into the Unmanifested. In Chapter 7, Eckhart Tolle introduces the unmanifested, a formless and timeless dimension beyond the physical world and the mind's activity. This deeper reality, often called pure consciousness or the essence of being, cannot be grasped by thought, but can be accessed through moments of stillness and presence. Tolle calls these moments portals because they allow us to step beyond mental noise into the infinite source of life. Key portals include silence, deep sleep, conscious breathing, and inner stillness. These portals aren't places to reach but states available here and now when we let go of ego and mental attachments. Tolle also reframes death as a natural return to the unmanifested, removing fear by seeing it as a transition back to the source. By touching these portals, even briefly, we reconnect with a timeless peace beneath all forms, experiencing presence not as an escape but as a return to life's true essence.
Chapter 8, Enlightened Relationships. In Chapter 8, Eckhart Tolle explores how awakening to presence can deeply transform personal relationships. He explains that many conflicts arise from ego-driven patterns such as neediness, control, and unconscious expectations. These patterns trap people in repetitive cycles of pain and misunderstanding. True connection, Tolle says, happens when both partners bring their full awareness into the present moment, letting go of judgment and resistance. Enlightened relationships are built on acceptance and conscious presence, rather than dependency or attempts to control one another. Tolle encourages readers to view relationships as powerful opportunities for spiritual growth. Each partner reflects back unresolved issues that call for healing and self-awareness. By practicing presence together, couples can move beyond ego clashes and experience greater intimacy, compassion, and joy. The chapter emphasizes that love can become a spiritual practice rooted in now consciousness. When both individuals stay present, they create a space where authentic connection flourishes. This awareness helps dissolve emotional pain and fosters deeper understanding, transforming relationships from sources of conflict into paths of awakening and healing.
Chapter 9. Beyond happiness and unhappiness there is peace. In Chapter 9, Eckhart Tolle explores the nature of true peace, which lies beyond the fleeting experiences of happiness and unhappiness. He explains that emotions are temporary responses tied to external circumstances or our mental interpretations, making them unreliable for lasting fulfillment. Instead, Tolle invites us to discover a deeper, more stable inner peace that remains unaffected by life's changing conditions. This peace emerges when we fully accept the present moment as it is, without resistance, judgment, or labeling. The ego, Tolle says, thrives on duality, the constant push and pull between pleasure and pain, happiness and suffering. This dynamic fuels emotional turmoil and keeps us trapped in cycles of craving and aversion. By surrendering this dualistic tension and letting go of attachment to emotional highs and lows, we move beyond the ego's grip. We enter a state of profound stillness and equanimity, what Tolle calls our natural state of being. This peaceful state is always accessible beneath the surface of our emotional experiences, offering freedom from suffering and a gateway to lasting contentment and spiritual awakening.
Chapter 10. The Meaning of Surrender. In the final chapter, Eckhart Tolle explains surrender as a profound and freeing acceptance of the present moment, rather than passive defeat or giving up. Surrender means yielding to what is without mental resistance, allowing life to flow naturally through you without unnecessary struggle or tension. Tolle emphasizes that surrender doesn't mean abandoning your goals or ceasing to take action. Instead, it means acting from a place of calm presence, not from the ego's compulsive need to control or force outcomes. This shift dissolves the inner conflict between your mind's demands and the reality around you. Surrender is portrayed as the doorway to true freedom and spiritual awakening because it breaks the cycle of mental resistance that causes suffering. By practicing surrender daily, you release inner tension and open yourself to deeper joy and peace. Ultimately, surrender aligns you with the flow of life itself, an intelligence far greater than the individual ego, allowing you to live with grace, clarity, and a sense of harmony with existence.
Appendices Summary. The appendices of The Power of Now offer practical guidance on integrating presence into daily life and maintaining spiritual growth over time. Eckhart Tolle includes exercises to help readers deepen their awareness, such as mindfulness practices, body awareness, and meditation techniques designed to dissolve mental noise. He also addresses common challenges people face on the spiritual path, like dealing with setbacks, resisting ego patterns, and sustaining motivation. Real-world examples illustrate how individuals, from corporate leaders to artists, use these practices to reduce stress, improve focus, and foster creativity by living in the moment. For instance, business executives who embrace presence report better decision-making and emotional resilience, while creatives find inspiration flows more freely when they quiet their minds. The appendices reinforce that cultivating presence is a lifelong journey requiring patience, commitment, and kindness toward oneself, ultimately transforming not just moments, but entire lives.
Thank you for watching our summary of The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. We hope it inspires you to live more peacefully in the present. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Next up, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, a guide to optimizing work and life. Stay tuned for more empowering insights.